What's up, guys? And welcome back to another Fortnite. Clear my stuff to another Fortnite video. Recently, there's been some new things to come to the event shop. I was gonna say, if you don't know where it is, the llama shop, and it goes items, and then there's event items and weekly items. Uh, and yeah, I mean the event items in the llama shop, I guess you could say under items. Uh, but I'm referring to the Primal Stink Bow, which is a new bow, just came out Wednesday or yesterday for me, but it came out Wednesday. It's you're probably not gonna see this for a little bit. Probably not until I don't know. Probably not for a while. Probably not until the 3rd of October, which by then you probably won't feel as new. But to me, it came out the other day. I did a little bit of playing around with it, but obviously there's more to do and try with it. Basically, now it says a fast firing bow that unleashes a cloud of stink on impact. Now, when they say fast firing, there's a difference between reload time and fire rate. Um, the fire rate once you get it is it's not very good for I guess for a bow sense, but there's always a trade off. Like you can have a reduced reload time, which is the time it takes. In this case, the time it takes for you to get that bow into position and ready to draw back. Now, um, fire rate is how fast you let loose of it, is what I would say. But on top of that, there's also a hero loadout, and that costed 10,000. So, I mean, this thing costed like I want to say like 13 to 1,500, 1,300 to 1,500, and this costed 10,000, which is why I have no gold right now, as you can see. I bought both of them, and I also bought this and this. Because I'm always trying for survivors. I'm trying to go to my survivors. You check out my squads. I know recently I just added this character. I'm always trying to go for trap damage bonuses and trap durability bonuses. So I'm always getting those legendary survivors from the shop. And if you can afford it, I suggest that as well. As mentioned in my previous video. As I mentioned in the previous video. Um, Not the very previous one of Fortnite, but might have been the one before that when I was giving around tips on how to level up and all that good stuff. Let's go to schematics and check it out. I do not have it favored. I probably should. Where's it right here? Okay, there is a collection book for it as well, so you could throw it away, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Um, but yeah, let's check it out. I went with physical. I went with reload speed, damage to miss monsters, bosses, and I went with critical rate, critical damage. And one of the things I did want to try is to see if I can use this with Zenith. I don't know why I went over that. I thought I seen Zenith in the store, that's why I went over. Oh, that's the 10th slot. I have a 10th slot. I think I mentioned it a while back. I know I'm going off on tangents, but I think I mentioned a while back. I have a sort of life leech constructor build. This is that life leech constructor build. Um, double increased armor, which is not necessarily needed. Actuator attacks or hardware. Rock and Rift hardware chance, basically. Uh, and then direct threat for an extra like 10 seconds of going constructor. Happy holidays for the cooldown. And monster mash. I know it's kind of based off of how low your health is, since as you can read, it says increases life leech with melee attacks and going constructor by up to 15% based on the percentage of your missing health. Additionally, melee going constructor eliminations have 50% chance to conjure a phantasm targets a nearby enemy, dealing 62 base damage in a 0.5 tile radius, and it's got a 1.5 second cooldown. Basically the premise is you pop your Golden Constructor. You can tank a lot when you're in there, especially if you, or at least as far as I know, if you hold your shield out, you get like a pretty big buff to your armor. So you take a lot less, like significantly less damage. You can stop smashers. You can stop takers. So if a taker or a smasher is rushing at you, you pull out your shield, which is left trigger if you're on the controller. You pull out your shield, it'll hit you. It will do very little damage or no damage, as far as I know. But I do know that it stops him. And I do know that at least it doesn't kill you, right, when you get hit by him. I haven't really paid attention to if it does damage or not, honestly. But I'm pretty sure it does like very, very little, just like anything else that would be hitting you does. If I can remember correctly, it's maybe like a 20-second cooldown or more. But it's also varying on how many eliminations you can get, because if you have an increase of 10 seconds, right, then your duration will increase that 10 seconds, and obviously then you'll have then you have a reduced cooldown, I guess, in that your duration is increased. You know what I mean? But let's get to my Zenith. And as you know, the Zenith is relying on crit hits, sniper crit hits, and I'm sure you're aware the bows are considered snipers, right? Ranged, sniper. What I was wondering is, and actually I'll go into a mission with Zenith and show you, might as well, since I'm going to try to explain it as well. Before I do, here's a little quick update on where I'm at in Ventures. I got my first Survivor Supercharger. I've done these missions already. I'm waiting for the missions reset. It resets in 2 hours, so you can tell. I'm also trying to squeeze this video up because I want to play during that time, and it's not going to be in this video that I'm playing Ventures. I'm going to be going over the gun and trying to come up with ways to improve it, or to see what I can do with it, what works, what doesn't work. But I'm going to load into this mission, and I'll see you guys in a second. Alright. So one thing I do not know about this bow, or that I didn't really pay attention to, is if the stink can crit. Right? If the stink can crit, then this is basically an AoE freezing monster. If it can't crit, then it's not. Okay, it doesn't look like it's gonna crit, but if it did, that would be absolutely insane. I know hitting enemies will probably won't kill them, but this works different from the bow. Obviously, the bow is gonna crit, and the bow will freeze enemies or kill them pretty quickly. So that's something learned. It won't crit, which means it will not work. For Zenith, well, actually, it could work for Zenith. That's not that it can't, but it won't work as well as the Xenon bow with Zenith. See, these are 160 enemies, and if I'm not killing them, I'm freezing them. Right? See how fast that froze that enemy. If we use it with all these enemies, oh, they're too far down. I don't want to go down there. If we use it with the other enemies, then it's not going to be as well, or as good, I should say. Let's see what other group of enemies we could use it on. On a group of enemies kind of just hanging out. Until they haven't spawned all over the place yet. Yeah, they are. But it's not. It usually only hits around that number as well. But I can hit headshots and get 3 to 400,000 headshots. That wasn't the best example of a 300,000 headshot. That wasn't either. Oh, the healer's saving him. I mean, it's not strong enough to kill healers. That was 300,000 headshot. That was a 400,000 one. 400,000. It froze him. It hit a crit. I don't know how much the crit was, but it froze him on crit hit. And you can tell already that took kind of long. We'll compare it to Xenon Bow again. Bring him back over here. And the Xenon Bow, even if I barely hit him, like I barely hit this guy, he's still frozen, and I killed him in a second hit. So it's different. It's not as good as the Xenon Bow, obviously. It's going to be hard to compete with the Xenon Bow. I hope in the future, when they make perks for this weapon, they change this damage to miss monster perk, because that slot, even though it does, I guess you can say, like, have a sort of relevance, it's also hard to say, right? This weapon, what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is they should move the perks around, and they should add a perk, or maybe instead of removing a perk or moving anything around, they should probably take that damage to miss monster perk and whatever other two are associated with it, and create a new perk that's around the stink, because the stink does barely any damage. It's like a stink bomb, basically. You're spawning a stink bomb on the ground. It doesn't last too long, and on top of that, it doesn't crit. If it critted that 4,000 and let's say only did half of your total damage on crit hit, if it's 146k, half of that on a crit hit would still be really good for as fast as it does hit enemies. But at the same time, they would be making a monster if they added a crit to this, because then this would be insane with Zenith. If you can crit hit enemies on this, it hit multiple enemies at once. Obviously, it takes up like half a tile. But if you were to use this like in a hallway scenario, that's the whole hallway basically. He froze. That's weird. You can't tell me it crit hit. It critted on him. Because it's hitting consistent numbers, so it's not... Okay, that hit him. That's probably why it crit hit. But, if it could crit, then this, it would be a monster. It would be... it would be game changing. Not to sound like I'm trying to clickbait, but it could definitely be game changing if it could crit. If it could crit hit and be sort of changed, or be varying on what perks you put on it more, because it's not right now. But if you could crit hit, that animal doesn't even know it's dead. But if you could crit hit with it, or it, have its own crit rating and stuff like that, then it would be crazy. You would freeze tons and tons of enemies. You'd freeze more enemies than you ever could with a freeze trap. It would make freeze traps obsolete because you could just run Zenith and have that bow, and you would be perfect. But we're gonna cut out, and I'm gonna come back, and we're gonna try it with I forget her name, Stoneheart Farah. We're gonna try it with Stoneheart Farah. So I'll see you guys in a second. All right, we're back. Gave it a little bit of time just to make sure the enemy spawned in. You probably didn't see, but those guys spawned in right in front of me. It's kind of funny. We're back with Stoneheart Farah this time. Obviously, if you know the bow builds, Stoneheart Farah and Zenith are the top two. I'm pretty sure the only two, honestly. If I'm gonna be honest, there are other sniper characters, but unless you're going for all critical damage or damage, then that's where you're varying. But with this, obviously, Stoneheart Farah is gonna put in work along with the other characters I have, and even though I have a good setup for bows in general, this bow in particular is only doing really good headshot damage and can only, it could do decent damage to most. And I say decent as in barely acceptable damage, because I know obviously you can't shoot through the wall like this bow, kill it in one shot basically. But it temporarily stops animals, or not even that. Never mind, that was a fluke, and the animal was just sizing me up. It looked like it did, though. I want to be honest. It looked like it did. This is just one of those weapons that isn't good. Also, if you've noticed, that's a zombie chicken right there. Zombie chickens are back. Halloween time, man. They've enabled zombie chickens. There's one nearby somewhere. Probably under the map, since they like to spawn like that too. So, I don't remember what level zombie chickens spawn in. Or if there's a level that they spawn in. I do know if you want to troll some low level guys, you could just round up a bunch of zombie chickens and murder them. It's just always really funny. That goes for adventures as well. So this weapon, I'm gonna call it not good. Even, the headshot damage is where it excels, but the problem is hitting those headshots and them, hitting for high damage amounts. If you don't know as well, there's these new things in the game. They look like this, and they also look like eggs. They're kind of scattered around the map. The ones that look like this, they're actually like pretty small. I would say, how big are they? I would say probably like, from the top of that, the bottom of the bracket, I guess you can say, to the top of the bracket, is probably how big they are. And they're in the ground. They're usually in groups of like 3 or 4, kind of in this like arc pattern. And there's a cluster of rocks around them and dirt. They're wolves. You can hold X on them, and it'll spawn a wolf that'll be your pet instantly. There's also groups of eggs. They usually kind of just sit up on peaks. It could be like a small peak like this of a hill, and there'll be like what appears to be like a bird nest. Is that in the ground? It'll appear to be like a bird nest. Have 3 eggs, and they're raptors. There's usually like 4 of them. 3 or 4. It depends, really. 3 or 4. And they, you hold X on them again, just like the other ones, and they spawn raptors. You tame them instantly. So as soon as you find them and hold X on them, it spawns a raptor. Another change I've noticed, and you probably won't see it in this video. You'll probably see it if you play Save the World. There's a person over there. If you play Save the World and you're doing ventures yourself, you'll probably notice that there's random animals that are now any one of the rarities. So it could be a blue, it could be a legendary, it could be a purple. I don't think I've seen green, but blue is usually like a rotating gizmo or something of blue rarity. I don't think I've seen green, but I for sure seen purple and legendary. The other day I was playing with a friend and I seen a purple frog, and we were both like laughing, like, "What the hell's a purple frog?" We didn't even know. We didn't even know, and in that moment I was like, "Okay, that's the update. I need to get on a video for the update." And I can't show you the eggs or the skulls. See, there's a purple frog right there, right on the inside of the tree. Dropped a shotgun. Yep, dropped a neon. Helium shotgun, or a neon weapon. I usually call them neon, and then whatever they are, but corn is weird shape. Another thing, I think they patched. Dude, I'm coughing. I'm sorry, guys. They patched out the little super mobility thing you could do with your hoverboard and the birds, like the chickens and these animals too. You used to be able to do them with them as well. So you watch. Look, here's a chicken, regular chicken. He hasn't been attacked yet. They will attack chickens. That's how they turn them. But you can't use your hoverboard with the chicken anymore, and that's kind of sad because that was mobility max. You would fly around the map like crazy, but you can't do that anymore. Let's get this guy up here, safety. He's gonna run off, isn't he? No, he's not. Okay. But yeah, it's, in my opinion, it is not. It's not a good gun. If they change it, then it will probably be a good gun. It would be, in terms of bows and DPS, I would say, in the literal sense of damage per second, since its bows are usually pretty fast fire rate. It would probably be just under the Xenon Bow, since the Xenon Bow can take out, upwards of 5 enemies in one shot. This bow would be up there for the reason that it would become a Zenith bow. It would be Zenith's own bow if they do decide to change it, and it does come out with an update that makes it makes the stink clouds crit. Once that happens, it will be crazy. Or at least how I'm going to implement it, right? Since I play the game very often. I would use that in defense. I would always have someone run the Zenith from then on, because that would be a guaranteed win if this bow comes out and is, hitting crits with its stink. Then that would be a game changer. But that is gonna be it for this video, guys. I know it wasn't a super in-depth one, but because the bow can only do so much, I did already go through 3 variations, this being one of them, so 2 other variations. and they were disappointing. I tried sacrificing reload speed for a crit damage. Um, I tried this same thing with affliction, just to see if the stink damage would increase. Even though it's like an area of effect, it's still somewhat of affliction because it's a new concept, even though it's an old concept since they've had stink bombs in the game. Which, if you're unaware, they do have stink bombs in the game. You loot chests, not chests. You loot random boxes and stuff, and you'll find them. Um, they are in the game. So is C4. C4 is in the game. Um, what else? Porta forts are in the game. Um, I don't know if that's it. You can see I'm lagging to all hell as people arrive and start using the internet. But yeah, if they change it, it'll be great. They don't change it, it'll still be the same. It'll be crappy. Um, but yeah, if you guys liked the video, leave a like. If you want to see more, have questions about the bow. I did try more variations than I said, but it was kind of three, not necessarily different, but it would be like I changed the damage to miss monster to affliction, or I changed the reload speed to crit damage, or I changed that crit rating down there to a damage. That sort of thing. It wasn't too wild of variations, but they were still different variations. But yeah, let me know if you guys have questions or anything like that. I'll be happy to answer. I don't do much except for play this and or Starfield because I'm liking Starfield. I know it gets a lot of hate for being boring and all this other stuff, but you know what I mean. I'm a Skyrim. I'm a Skyrim guy. I'm a Fallout 4, Fallout 3 kind of guy. So it's pretty cool. It's cool for me, fun for me to kind of walk around, explore buildings, and just walk around and do stuff, even though it's not really anything. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.